Hi guys, it's Kelly Latevola, and I am here representing Honeybee Stamps on the Simon Says Stamp channel, and I am super excited about that. And so today I have a one layer card for you. If you've seen any of my videos before, you know this is kind of my thing. And I'm using the Winter Anemones, the Piece of Cake, and I actually forgot to show it to you, so that was totally my bad. The Sweet Sentiment set. It's just called Sweet. So for my stamping, I'm using Copic Safe ink. This is the Gina K Amalgam ink, and I'm going to stamp this down on Neenah 80-pound solar white cardstock. I'm stamping the flower first because I want it to be in the forefront. So anytime you're doing a one layer card, you want to stamp the things that will be up front first, and then the things that will be behind second. So here I'm stamping my mask. I'm using Eclipse masking paper. Love this, absolutely love it. I use it for just about everything. The only thing that I will tell you is it doesn't have like a plastic coating on it. So if you're going to be stamping something multiple times, your ink will start to kind of seep through. So if I have something I'm going to be stamping multiple times, I actually use the 3M Post-it tape that does have a coating on it. Here, I turn everything into a scene, you guys. Like, that's just my thing. And so I was trying to get away from that, but I still wanted to use both of the stamp sets in conjunction with each other. So here, I've cut a bunch of masks, and this is my trick for placement. When I'm doing a one-layer card, I'm using the masks to put down so I can see where I want to stamp them at. And then I'm also going to add just a couple more leaves at the bottom of the flower spray there to just kind of extend that out so it looks like the flowers are sitting in front of this cake display. So I stamped my first strawberry. I'm going to put the masks back in place so I can make sure where my second one needs to be. And you'll notice throughout this entire process that I'm using my scissors to kind of lift up my masks. It's because I have on like a dark pink nail polish, and I don't want to scratch the nail polish across the surface of my card because I've done that so many times and it will occasionally leave a mark. For those of you who are going to ask, because everybody always does, my nail polish is Big Spender by Essie. That is the name of it, in case you are curious. So stamping these leaves, I didn't get a great impression, so I just stamped it a second time. That's the beauty of the MISTI or any stamp positioner is you just, you know, if you don't get a good impression, you just try again. And then you can see I'm just putting the masks down, like I'm covering up the things I've stamped as I'm going. I have one last strawberry to stamp, and that's going on top of my piece of cake. But I like, basically, as I go through this, and I don't know if you guys have the same problems, is sometimes I get ahead of myself as far as what should be going down, where it should be going down. So I was looking to see if I should stamp the cake stand before I actually stamp the cake. And then I thought that it would be better to actually do the cake first. And please forgive my dirty, misty door. My son, I have a 5-year-old, is super into card making right now, and he loves stamping all of the things. But he's very aggressive with his ink pad. So he's like smushing it and pouncing it, and he's not very gentle at all. He's definitely all boy. So sometimes he gets some ink on the door, and I honestly I'm so used to seeing it. It doesn't even occur to me that like it needs to be cleaned until I'm editing the video. And then I'm like, wow, that door is super dirty. So now the cake is stamped. I love the cake stand that is in the set, but because of the way that I wanted to do the card, it wasn't tall enough. So I'm going to show you how I kind of extended out that line. I'm not going to do any masking. I'm actually going to change the way that I ink it. So here I'm inking just the top port. Wow, we're not on a ship, right? We're not on a ship. Top part of the cake stand. And then I'm going to use a baby wipe to just clean off the bottom edges. And you'll see after I use the baby wipe, I use my finger to wipe across the same area. And that's just to make sure that I don't have any moisture that's left on the stamp, because I don't want to stamp water on my card base either. Once that's done, I'm going to clean it really, really well to make sure that I don't get anything else when I stamp the second part of it. So I'm going to scoot this down and I'm going to put the bottom of the stand where I want it to be. And then I'm going to ink the reverse of it. So I'm going to ink the bottom portion of it and not get anything on the top. And this one was actually really easy. I didn't even need to clean it off. I just held this the stamp pad lower, the ink pad lower, and then it actually didn't even get anything on there. So I'm going to remove all of my masks now, which is always my favorite part, so I can see everything coming together. And then I'm going to just fill in that line with a Copic Safe pen. Now you can use Copic multi-liners, you can use microns. I prefer the EK Success journaling pens. They're also Copic safe, and they come in a bunch of different sizes in a pack, and they're reasonably priced, and so that's just what I have grown accustomed to. Here you're going to notice, and if you've ever watched any of my videos, you may find this a little bit strange. I've actually sped up the coloring. The reason I've sped up the coloring is not everybody likes to watch 30-minute videos, and I am aware of that, and that's okay. That's totally fine. Not everybody has 30 minutes in their day to devote to just hanging out with me. And so I just wanted it to be something that was going to be a little bit more functional. So that is why I chose to speed it up. Here you can see I'm using my cool grays because I want this to look more metallic, and I'm adding some shading underneath the strawberries, underneath the cake. I'm also adding it on the left hand side of the stand, like where the little loops are hanging down. And then here on the actual post, you can see I'm making some darker and lighter areas, and this is to help make it look more reflective. So you would have darker areas where the light wasn't hitting it, and then pure white areas where the light was hitting it. Moving on to the next thing, a lot of reds in this particular one. Valentine's Day is coming up, and I've been coloring a lot of cake lately, which I don't mind at all because I love cake in all forms, whether it's stamps or in real life. So here I'm just adding some texture. So I added some shading you saw on the right hand side that's like coming away from the icing. And then I'm using what they call a stippling technique, which is just a series of little dots to add texture to the actual cake portion of it. And I guess I'm not using all of the darkest colors, which you'll see how dark we end up getting, especially with the flowers and the strawberries. But here I'm using some lighter reds, which look more pink, for the inside of my strawberry cake. And like I said, those dots are just going to add texture, which in real life cake actually has. So going back over with my lightest color, and this might seem silly because, how is an R00 going to cover, or what was it, an R20? How is an R20 going to cover, an R27? It's not. But because Copics are transparent, they will lighten those other colors, and it kind of helps everything mesh together. For the strawberries, I'm going much darker because I want them to be that, that bright red that really delicious strawberries are. But I am leaving a highlight area, and I'm going to color the other two the same exact way. Moving on to the flowers, since I have my reds out, here you'll see that the way that I chose to shade these, and it's just entirely up to you how you want to do it. I like to add shading from the base of the petals out, and then I also like to add some shading from the tips of the petals in. This leaves the highlight section for most of the petals in the middle, and it gives them a more round appearance, which I really like. It makes them look like they're blooming. But for the petal that is closest to us, that one's actually bent up over the center. And so for that one, I opted not to really add any shading to the tip. I wanted that to be the lightest part. So the way that this is drawn, there's a lot of edges that are curling over other parts. So there would be shading there where it's, curling over itself. And then anytime you have something that's cupped, like a bloom of a flower, almost always the base of the petals will be darker than the rest of it, unless it's fully completely open. But as this one is drawn, like a cup, then we're going to have shading down there. And then, like I said, that one in the front, the tips should be the lightest part because it would catch the most light as it was coming up over the rest of the flower. So anemones, they're a winter flower. I didn't even know this. I learned this a couple of years ago. But they typically come in white and red, or white and red. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, they're either white and red, or they're white and then there's red. So for this one, because I already had the strawberry cake thing going on, it seemed to make the most sense to just go ahead and do the red kind. And I color from lightest to darkest and then darkest back out to my lightest. And I feel like that gives me the best blend because Copics blend in the fibers of your paper. So the more ink that is down, now you don't want it so saturated that it's bleeding outside of your lines, but if you want to put enough color down that they really are blending together. When I do the bud up here, you're going to see that I actually start with my darkest color. The reason that I start with my darkest color is to show you that you don't have to do the lightest, darkest, darkest to lightest. I am heavy-handed, so typically I don't start with my darker colors. Also, I feel like it gives me a better blend. However, sometimes there's just not enough real estate to have to worry about how it blends. So as long as you can control yourself, which I have such a hard time with how much dark you put down, you can absolutely start with your darker color to reduce the chance that your ink is going to bleed outside of your image. Here, again, you just want to make sure that you're leaving some highlight areas on the tips of the petals because that's what's going to give you the separation. I'm going to color the one in the background the same exact way before I move on to the centers, which I'm actually going to do like a golden yellow. So for me, my favorite gold combination is a Y02, a Y08, a YR24, and an E99. And that combination might seem like it's a little bit crazy, but I promise you it really doesn't work well to make gold. I picked out some yellow greens to do the stems of my strawberries and then also the leaves on my anemones. So many different color combinations that you could use for green. I just really like bright colors, so this is the one I naturally gravitate to. For the coloring of the leaves, I am adding some shading because anytime one object lays on top of another object, there's going to be a shadow. So they are going to be darker where they're tucked behind the flower. But then I'm also adding little lines coming in from the outside because the way these are drawn, they're more like jagged edges. And so in order to just accentuate that jaggedness of the leaf, I'm bringing it in just with some darker color. So when I'm done with them, you can see they almost look striated because they're so much dark and light. For the frosting, now I know you're probably going to be thinking to yourself, Kelly, I don't want gray cake. Don't worry, nobody wants gray cake. I mean, that doesn't sound delicious at all. But when you color white, you're coloring where the shadows are, and there still needs to be something there. It can't just be stark white. In order for it to have some dimension, we have to put the shadows in, which I chose my warm grays for, so that there would be a difference between the frosting and then the cake stand. And here I'm pretty much just putting the shadows more so underneath the strawberries, where the strawberries are sitting in front of the cake, and then where the cake and the bottom right hand corner is sitting on the cake stand. I'm also going to use these to put a little bit of a shadow underneath my flowers and the cake stand part that's on the ground, so that way it's grounded and it doesn't look like these things are just floating in the air. Now, if I was going to turn this into a scene, I would probably, put this on a countertop or put a window in the background or put them in a window. That would be super cute. Just a ton of ways to turn this into something else. But like I said, I feel like I turn everything into a scene. So I decided that I was just going to keep it simple and let the images just kind of shine with no competition from anything else. Busting out my white gel pen because I love my white gel pen. I'm adding in some pretty bold highlights onto those strawberries. I'm also going to create some dots in the flower that is open, especially where the stamen are. And then fun little texture thing that you can do. I wanted it to look like there was like a lace doily that was over the cake stand. And so all I'm doing is drawing little circles right up next to each other all over the entire cake stand. There is a doily edge that is drawn into the stamp that is stamped in black right now, but I am going to go over those with the white. Now, I wasn't so, like, I'm not such a perfectionist that they needed to be exactly over the black, but I did get it enough where in real life it gives that effect of like if a doily was hanging over top of it, which I totally think is adorable. And then I'm just going to go back in and add a little bit of shadow underneath the strawberry so it looks like it's sitting on top. I like to outline everything in, those black pens. That's just me. I feel like it makes the colors pop a little bit more. You certainly don't have to. And a lot of times people will ask me, couldn't you just put it back in your Misty? And the answer is yes, you can. But because I've done so much masking, it's just easier for me to outline it. I'm going to use black Simon Says Stamp ink to stamp my sentiment, which is just super simple, and I feel like it complements the whole little vibe we got going on here, and it just says hello love. So the last thing that I'm going to do is some clear wink of Stella all over the strawberries and the flowers because I just love shine so much. I need it on all of the things. And then that's pretty much the entire card. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you to Honeybee Stamps for letting me represent them, and to Simon Says Stamp for inviting us. And I will see you guys later. Bye.